Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. Let me make sure everyone is seeing me on Facebook. Okay, so give me 1 second. All right, so we are on. Awesome sauce. Welcome, everyone to Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I have missed you guys so much, my resilient risers. I have actually really missed you guys. I always say that being on the show is a therapy for me. So I have really missed you guys. So Bosway Moon, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, Martinique, Barbados, Grenada, all of my Caribbean island, chain of islands, Europe, UK, Asia, Ghana, Africa, all my resilient risers from all around the world. I welcome you to Poetry and Perspective with Placide this April 10th, 2025. It is always a pleasure to be in your audience. Always a pleasure. Guys, listen, the past couple of weeks have been really trying, and I got so much to offer you guys, after coming back for so long. But listen, I am happy to be here, and it's always a pleasure to be with here on Poetry and Perspective with Placide. First of all, for the benefit of those who have not seen my show or are not familiar with my show, the slogan for the show is "Let your voice be heard," and I am confident, Cindy Placide. I am first a woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, and a poet, advocate, and a 3-time published author. Okay, and I published my. Let me see if I can get my slides on for me to share with you. I published my first book. Like I said, I'm a 3-time published author. And let me see if I can find my first book for you guys. For you, those of you who don't know, I am from the beautiful Caribbean island of St. Lucia. So big up St. Lucian Massive. My first book is entitled When Life Stood in Silence. And that book was my first masterpiece. It is a book really sought after. And this book talks about my trials and my tribulations, my traumas. It is an autobiography in poetry. And it talks about all the things that I have been through, from my depression to my PTSD and to my depression, my anxieties. I put all my feelings in this book, and it is entitled When Life Stood in Silence. My second book, which is not uprising from that book, it is entitled A Mighty Calm. On A Mighty Calm, it helps you find your strength, build your confidence from deep within you, and find yourself and be confident in who you are as a person and your journey. And my third book, entitled What the Skies Told Me, it is a book of reflection. As much as it helps you find value in yourself, it helps you appreciate who you are as a person and not compare yourself to anybody, to know that you are beautifully made in the image of the Almighty God. So I'm so thankful, for my 3 books. And I'm really appreciative of what God has done for me so far. And I thank all of you for being here with me. Now, I am a poet, I am an author, I am an advocate, okay? I advocate for mental health and illness. I advocate for mental health and illness. I advocate for suicide, pregnancy and child loss or dwarfism, autism. And I bring domestic violence, and I bring awareness to a whole host of other things. And let me just elaborate a little bit for you, okay? A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with depression, chronic grief, PTSD, and a whole lot of other things. And because of my experiences and my journey, I chose to advocate for all of these things. For autism, my 16-year-old son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2, and I had not heard about that before. So when I finally figured out, what work was entailed in doing it, until I had to take up the mantle and being a single mother of an autistic child. Okay. And so now I'm advocating for autism. I also advocate based on my past traumas and my from rape, incest, physical, mental, and emotional abuse. I advocate for mental health and illness. I've made several attempts at suicide on my life, and I'm happy to be here today that God remove this thinking from me. So I advocate for suicide prevention as well. I also advocate for epilepsy. Advocate for epilepsy, for just name it, breast cancer, cervical cancer. I just bring to the audience the things that are important, that affect us in our everyday health and well-being, our everyday lives. Now, Poetry and Perspective with Placide serves to educate as well as promote people of like minds, from the upcoming or established poets, authors, entrepreneurs, artists, writers, to just someone who just needs to tell a story. So our mission is to show, for the show is to allow the guests' voices to be heard as we honestly and respectfully as possible as they tell their story, intending to inspire, motivate, and empower others through shared experiences. Now, rule of thumb on this show, strict rule: we do not discuss politics and religion on the show. Everything has a place, and this platform is not for that. It is a drama-free zone. We don't accept any harsh or explicit or foul language. We want this to be fun and educational, something that children can go back and listen to. And of course, so this is what I have to say. So now, let me get to the nitty gritty of, why did I even clap my hands? Okay, let me get to the nitty gritty of things. Tonight, we have an amazing guest on our show. As I say, I bring awareness to so many different aspects of the show, and so many different aspects of everyday life. And let me say hello to my guests who are there so far. Modest Grandmafa, good evening to you. How are you doing today? Thank you so much. Said you look amazing. You look like the queen. You truly are. Oh, thank you, honey. Okay, so tonight, as usual, we have a very important topic with a very interesting guest with us tonight. And a lot of us face so many different health challenges. And it is, I mean, some of us face a whole host of them. But one of the things that are very detrimental to the health, a silent killer, is something called stroke. And today we are bringing awareness to stroke. So many people have been affected by the stroke. And so tonight we have with us my guest, Anthony Barfield. And let me tell you, let me bring him on the stage, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and then he's going to continue. Okay. So, hi, Anthony. How are you doing today?
Hey, Cindy, how you doing?
Good. So let me tell you a little bit about Anthony. Okay. Anthony or Tony, as we call him, was born in Washington, D.C. and raised in Miami, Florida after graduating high school in 1983. He spent most of his career in the distribution and logistic industry. He moved to Atlanta into 2021, where he met his beautiful wife, and together they care for a blended family of 4 children. Over the years, Tony has always tried to balance life, family life, spiritual life, and work through that, although he admitted that maintaining a healthy lifestyle has been challenging. But on January 9, 2020, just before his 60th birthday, something happened to Tony, which will be a turning point in his life. And we are here to talk about it tonight. So, Tony, back to you, darling. How are you feeling today?
I feel pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good today. Every day is different. Every day could be some challenges, but today I feel pretty good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here on Poetry and Perspective with Placide. Tony and I have known each over 17 years. 17 years. And we've been really good friends. And although we have not been in touch as we're supposed to as friends, but life goes on and people get busy. And these are some of the things that I really understand about life. Okay. People get busy and we are going to have so much going on with us. Okay. So, Tony, I want to ask you, before we get into stroke, what we had to talk about, which is stroke awareness. Let me ask you a little bitty about yourself so that the viewers could get to know you better, and then we're going to continue. Okay. So Tony, tell us a little bit more about your upbringing. You said you were raised in Miami, Florida. What was life like for you there? And walk us through that.
But yeah, I was like I said, I was born in Washington D.C. My dad was in the military, where he met my mom in Washington D.C. But he's originally from Florida. He grew up in Florida. So after I was born, I don't know, maybe before I turned 1 years old, he decided to move back to Miami. So that's where I spent most of my youth there, up until high school, growing up in Miami and going through the public schools there in Miami. And I came from a two-parent home, so that was pretty good. I had a brother and a sister. Um, was into sports and different things like that, football, track, wrestling. So I was kind of active in everything. It was a little different then than it is now with the kids. There was no social media at all. So we didn't experience that. Our social media was outside, so we did
Yes.
outside.
Yes, I feel that. I feel that. Yes.
That's what I said.
Nowadays, children are just glued into their devices. But
Right.
like you said, the same way in the Caribbean, back growing up in St. Lucia, our social media and our recreation was outside, going on run, go climbing mango trees.
Right.
And
Right.
so going and jump in the river and enjoy the river water or the beach. Yeah, so
Right. So
I
it was
feel cool.
a lot different then than it is today. But
Yes.
so kind of growing up there kind of prepared me for my adulthood. Learning the streets and stuff like that, and as a kid and right into adulthood. So it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay. So you said you spent most of your life in the logistics industry. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've always worked in the manufacturing, warehousing. I worked for Caterpillar for a while. Worked for Mercedes Benz for a while. I think where we kind of met was in the warehousing industry. Was at Steelcase.
Yes.
That was in manufacturing as well. So I kind of continued there for a while. Moved up in the different companies and kind of taught me how to be a manager and supervise people and how to deal with different attitudes and stuff like that, and how to supervise and de-escalate.
You
Um,
you were my supervisor, right?
say,
On
say,
the line. I
say
said you were
again?
my supervisor on the line, right?
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Listen, guys, I've done a little bit of everything. So we're talking about Tony and his logistics years.
yeah,
Yes. So,
I kind of got out of that. I kind of got out of that. Now I work for public schooling. I work for a private school now as
okay.
head of the maintenance department. So pretty much the same thing. Still got to dealing with a lot of people still with the teachers and principals and president of the school. So just making sure the school and the campus everything is well maintained throughout the year in the summer. So that's what I'm currently doing now.
Wonderful, wonderful, Tony. So you haven't aged a bit over the years. So just the beard that grew. I don't know why. That's your great. You haven't grown up. You haven't changed a bit. So Tony, now let's get into what we're really here to talk about. Okay, the stroke. What was life for you before stroke? And can you walk us through a typical day for you?
Well, a typical day for me before the stroke, I mean, I wasn't really active in anything other than I was super busy. Um, my job was a little stressful because when you have to maintain a campus, it can be a little stressful because everything is going on at any given time. So typical day started off around 5 o'clock in the morning, a.m. in the morning, and I would come to the school and open everything up, make sure everything is prepared before the teachers and everybody got there, and throughout the day, with the kids and everything. So anything could happen, and then so it's always putting out little fires.
Okay, okay.
Always put out little fires on campus. So it was extremely busy, and I was extremely busy. So I didn't have time for really to do anything else outside of that. By the time whenever I got home, I was kind of worn out. I was kind of worn out. So there wasn't no like exercise and my food intake was terrible because I was eating on the run, eating here and there. I
Yeah.
One thing that I did do that I realized now that wasn't good. I drank a lot of Red Bulls. I drank a lot of Red Bull because I thought that gave me energy. So I would consume 3 or 4 Red Bulls per day on any given day. I would drink 3 or 4 of them per day just because I thought it gave me energy, but really didn't. Because I was just so busy trying to stay and keep up with everything that was going on. So it was kind of hectic during that time before the stroke.
Oh wow. Okay, that is something. So, Tony, so you were just a normal person, going for everyday life. Before we continue, let me say hello to the guests over here. We have Modest Glam Martha. Good evening to you. We have Frina Dals, who is watching. We have Marcia Jean Marie. We have Tessa Myers, Baptiste Paul, Nicola Dorville, Tony Maxime. We also have Gilroy Kamzel, Andy Chico, Tyrone, Jiggy Max Henry. And we have so many other people watching, guys. So, thank you so much for being on Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I really do appreciate you guys coming on here and just sharing this live with us, in this live with us. So, Tony, let's continue. So you were not eating right. You were living a pretty, just life on the go. So on January 9th, 20, was it 2020, right?
2025.
2025. Oh, okay, I got 20.
Yeah,
Okay,
2025, right.
okay, 2025. When did you realize that you were having a stroke?
Well, I got home from work around 4 o'clock, and normally, like I said, when I get home, I normally kind of crash out a little bit or kind of rest up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I laid down on the couch. It was about say about 5 o'clock. I only thing that I noticed I had a stomach ache, and I thought it was something that I ate earlier that day. That day I thought I had a stomach ache, so I asked my wife to bring me something for my stomach because I thought I had an upset stomach. Um, so around 7:30, no, I'm gonna say around no, it was around 8:45. After I laid down,
Mm-hmm.
I was laying down on the couch, and I noticed my left arm kind of went limp on my left side. My left arm went limp, like where I couldn't raise it. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
rose myself up off the couch, and then once I did that, I noticed my speech was very slurred, where my tongue was real heavy in my mouth, where I couldn't say anything. So I had my son to call his my grandson to call his grandmother, and then she came downstairs. I was trying to call her name, but I guess she didn't hear me because my face, my left side of my face just kind of, I couldn't see it, but it was droopy. This left side was real droopy, and she came in and she noticed that the left side was droopy. So it was about 9:11 when she called EMS. So when they came in, they kind of, it's an acronym for a stroke. It's called FAST. It's called FAST. If
Mm-hmm.
you notice that somebody having a stroke, so the F is for face. If you notice that the face is droopy, that's the F.
Mm-hmm.
The A is for arms. They make you raise both your arms to see if you got function of both your arms. And the S is for speech.
Mm-hmm.
They make you talk. They make you say your name. And if you notice anything that you're slurring anything, then that's another one. And the T is for time. So it's fast.
Mm-hmm.
FAST. T is for time. You have a 4 hour window. If somebody's having a stroke, you have a 4 hour window to get them to the emergency room so they could kind of proceed with giving some medicine. Kind of what my stroke was an ischemic stroke. It was a clot in my brain
Wow.
from high cholesterol. So they was able to go in. They was able to go in through an IV, and we got something called a clot buster. It's called a clot buster. It just
Mm-hmm.
break up that clot so the blood can flow, and that can give you activities or whatever's going on. So with me, I couldn't raise my left hand at all at the time. So once they administer that clot buster, I guess within an hour, then I had some mobility in my left arm, but my face was still a little um, droopy, and my speech it's still slurred. Right now today, my speech is still slurred. You might can't notice it, but it is.
I can, because I know you well enough to know that. Yes.
It's
So,
just
Tony, let's back up a little bit, okay? Let's back up a little bit, because I want the viewers to really grasp what you're saying, okay? So you said you were laying on the chair,
right on the couch. Right.
on the couch, and what were your first symptoms? Go again slowly for the viewers to understand that.
My first symptom is my left arm went limp. I tried to raise myself up, but I couldn't push up with my left arm, so I lost all the mobility of my left arm. So that's one of the worst symptoms was my left arm. And then when I cried out to my grandson, who was in the room, I noticed my tongue was very heavy, where I couldn't hardly pronounce, call his name. So my tongue was very, yeah, that's what it is. Be fast. That's it. That's it.
Yes. So this is what Tony's saying. So he said his tongue was very heavy. So you said be fast. So your tongue became very heavy. And what else?
My arm, with an A for arms, my arm, I couldn't move my arm, my left arm at all.
Wow.
Right, and the S is for speech. So my speech was slurred, very slurred, because my left side
Uh-huh.
of my face was droopy. And the T, like I said, for time, you got a certain amount of time to react to
Mm-hmm.
that. So nothing else drastic won't happen to the whoever it is that's having a stroke. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
some detrimental damages, some lifelong damages if you don't respond in a timely manner. Like I said, you have 4 hours to kind of respond to get someone to the emergency room so they can administer what they need to administer. So luckily, mine was within. I was at the hospital within 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was quick, because I live where I live at the hospital is like 25 minutes from me where I live. So they was able to
Okay.
give me administer the what they call the clot buster to break up that clot from the cholesterol. I had high cholesterol. One of my things I had high hypertension, which I never paid attention to.
Okay.
So I had high blood pressure, mine was high, and then I had high cholesterol. And that's from eating all the greasy and fatty foods, the bad foods,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
caused a clot in my brain.
Wow. So before the stroke, right?
Mm.
Did you have did you know anything about ischemic what's the word ischemic
It's
stroke?
no,
Ischemic.
not at all. I mean, my father before my mother and father passed away. My dad suffered, he suffered several strokes, but I never knew what it was. I was kind of fearful because anytime somebody see a stroke, I thought it was automatic. You had to have some type of brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That was my fear when I heard stroke. I thought, it won't go in my brain, which some of them they do. If it's depending if it's what they call a hemorrhagic stroke, where the blood vessel will burst in your brain. Then they got to go
Wow.
in and relieve that pressure in your brain, so they have to go in. So mine was just a clot where they went in and moved the clot a little further out of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I didn't know anything really. I was kind of naive about a stroke and what it really was and entailed and detailed and what caused it. But it's all
Wow.
about lifestyle. So anyone and most black men, we're the higher risk out of any other race. Black
Mm-hmm.
are higher risk to suffering a stroke because it could happen at any age. You don't have to be an older person. It can happen at any age.
Wow.
Yeah,
So after all of that transpired, okay, you were in the hospital. How long did you spend in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for 3 days. 3 days after I had to learn how to walk again because I lost the ability to walk, so I had to learn how to walk. So they wouldn't release me until I at least was able to maintain my balance and be able to walk. So that was one of the first things. And then once my arm came back, which is really kind of still kind of weak right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 80% right now, but I was able to
Wow.
ability in my arm. So then once they released me the third day, I went back home.
So you spent practically about 30 days in the hospital.
No, 3 days.
3 days. Okay. All right. So
But my
Tony, how how common you had not known anything about this, and Martha said that's a lot of information. The fatty food causes this lump in the brains, the clot in the brains. Yes,
correct,
because we don't realize how much toxins we are putting into our bodies when we put all of those fatty foods in our bodies.
correct.
I have made a conscious decision to just stay away from all of those fatty foods and eat healthy foods. And it's been a challenge, but I've been working on it for a couple of months now, about a whole year, and I've been doing better. You
Good,
know, those fatty foods, they are very, very dangerous to our health. Now,
good.
Tony, you said that you had to learn to walk again, you had to learn to talk again.
Right.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you. Uh, oh my gosh, my brain just went like poof, blank. So I wanted to ask you. I think I was going to ask you a question, but it slipped my brain. But I'm going to go to another question and ask you.
Okay.
So, how dangerous is that kind of stroke? The ischemic. I can hardly say it, but the stroke that you had. How common and how dangerous is that kind of stroke?
Well, it varies with the individual depending on how much buildup that's in the brain from the clot. So it can leave you. I don't see people leave not disfigured, but walk with a limp.
Mm-hmm.
Your arms can be drawn up if you can't use your arm, and it can impair your brain. You could suffer some brain loss as well because you got to remember it's functioning of the brain, so the brain has been damaged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so the brain controls the whole body. So mine's, I mean, I'm just thankful that mine wasn't as severe as most people who had suffered the same type of stroke that I had. So mine wasn't as severe for me. So everybody varies. Even the healing process, they vary depending on how quick they heal. So I'm just thankful
Mm-hmm.
that mine was really an eye opener and a blessing for me because it scared me into knowing what I need to do after my stroke as far as what I need to put in my body as far as the right foods, what I need to eat, what I need to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Exercising is important. So mine's that type of stroke is dangerous, but it didn't hit me as severe as most cases.
Wow.
And
Wow.
if you get a chance, I don't know if you're able to your computer, if you look up how often a stroke happens in the United States, it's every 40 seconds.
Yes. Actually, I do have that information here, and I was going to share it with
Right.
the viewers. Let me see if I can find it. The National Stroke Alliance, the National Stroke, is it from the National, from Front Healthcare, National Stroke Awareness? And I'm going to show you guys what it says about the stroke. Let me share my screen with you because this is a very important issue. A lot of people, we live our lives, our daily lives. We don't think about these things. We eat how we want to eat. We just, hey, I'm just living life, I'm enjoying life. But stroke is very, very deadly. Some people don't recover from strokes. And this is what this for healthcare.com says. May is National Awareness, Stroke Awareness Month. And it says, according to the American Health Association, someone in the United States has a stroke every 40 seconds, accounting for 1 out of 19 deaths. Strokes are the leading cause of death and serious disability nationwide and around the world. It also went on to say that with maybe National Stroke Awareness Month, it is important to know that strokes are 80% preventable.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know because the most diseases we hear about is cancer and heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of focus on those two diseases, but strokes you don't hear too much about a stroke. And then, like you said, it's 80% preventable, and it's all about what we do, what we put in our bodies that can prevent one.
Yeah, and Martha gave a very, very, you know, brief description. She said that, every 40, she said that, let me see, what did she say? She said that in the United States, strokes are significant health concerns. Every year, more than 795,000 people experience a stroke, with approximately 610,000 being first-time strokes.
That's right.
And every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. Let me see what happened to my, okay. Every 40 seconds, okay, that's too much to show on the screen, but every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke, and every 3 minutes and 11 seconds, someone dies from one.
That's correct.
So that's very, very staggering. And this is why strokes are common among older adults. There are also alarming trend. Stroke prevalence is increased by 7.8% from 2011 to 2013 and 2020 to 2022. Wow, increasing among the adults. This is so wow. Stroke is 80% preventable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
So
about
Tony, when you were told that you had a stroke, right, Tony?
right.
After you got to the was it your wife who noticed it, or when you got to the hospital and then they told you, okay, you became coherent and they told you that you had a stroke? What was
Well,
the first thing that came to your mind?
well, I kind of knew when it was going on because that's the first thing I asked my wife, was I having a stroke?
Okay.
Because I kind of knew some of the symptoms as far as the face drooping and the arm and the loss of my left arm. So I kind of was conscious about that. So, but she wasn't aware until the EMS got there to the house, and that's when they said, yeah, he's having a stroke.
Wow. That must have been very scary for you. Did you think that you were gonna lose your life? Or what was going through your
Absolutely,
mind?
absolutely. I thought that was it. And my son was there, my grandson was there, my wife there. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna take this ambulance ride, and that's gonna be it. So that's what I did. I did think that. So it was scary. So I'd be the first to admit that. Yeah, it was kind of stressful at the time too, because I'm not knowing what's going on at the same time.
Hmm.
I can't move my arm. I can't talk properly. So yeah, so it was very stressful at that time. So yeah, I didn't know, but yeah, it was scary. It was scary.
It is, after we spoke about this, I went and I did some research on strokes, and a lot of it has to do with our diet.
Yeah, absolutely,
When
100%
it says 80%, 80%
preventable.
preventable,
Right.
that's a high, that's a high number to be, that's a high number.
Absolutely. Yeah, that you can prevent a stroke, and it's all
Yeah.
about our lifestyle. Less stress. Like I said, the food intake, the right foods that we eat. Because I was eating a lot of fast food. I was eating on the go. Um, Exercise. That's critical. And
Hmm.
I wasn't doing that at all. At all.
I grew up as an athlete, and over the years, life has thrown me so many different curveballs that to some extent, although I'm still fit, but to some extent, I have really, really continued working out. I don't think there's 1 month that passes if I don't even do at least a push up. And I can do about 10 without stopping. Yeah. So I've always been active. And I remember I went to the hospital. I did a test, right? And then the doctor says, those blood tests you do to find out, and the doctor said my cholesterol is elevated. And my blood pressure, I've always been on blood pressure, but I'm going like, that's not my portion. And I always think about a stroke. I always think this is the one thing I don't want to get. I like to move my hands. I like to move my body. So for me, not being able to move my hand, or even that would be a problem. So
Oh,
we have got, yes, Martha, I am still fit doing push-ups. We have got to take care of ourselves. And
absolutely.
let me one thing I have learned. I work with, I know you met me when we were doing, I think we were also doing Herbalife together, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
so I've always
yeah,
been conscious about my health and always putting the right things in my body. And sometimes when you don't have it, you may end up, but it is better if we spend the money on the healthy stuff than go to the
oh,
fast food place and spend $10-15. We can just buy, something for us to cook. And we need to take better care of our health. And I'm glad that your wife was there. Probably if you had fallen asleep, it would have happened in your sleep.
yeah. That has happened too for
Yeah.
some people. Yeah, they have a stroke in their sleep. That's more dangerous because
Wow.
the time elapsed where you can respond to it. Yeah.
So one of the things that I have learned, I remember I had a friend of mine, but she passed away already. She was working in a doctor's office, and I also have, a lot of friends in the medical, field. And one of the things they always encourage me to do is um blood thinners. Not blood thinners, what am I saying? What am I saying? Those baby bear pills, like
Blood
they.
thinner.
Yes, I think it's blood thinners, right?
Right,
So they
blood.
encourage me to take a blood thinner at least once or twice a
Right.
week.
Well, a day actually.
A day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only like
So
80. It's like 81 milligrams, so that won't hurt you.
yes, so I have been taking that because honestly, I have been worried about from the minute they told me about that high cholesterol, my cholesterol being high, I'm going like, that's not for me. Okay, so I'm gonna fight it. Yeah, but Tony, it is. I read about this, and it is that kind of stroke is very common. It is very deadly as well.
Right.
And I'm so happy that you are here with us to be able to speak with us on this topic, because a lot of people, they do not want to talk about these things. They are afraid to talk about it, but it is important that we touch on these topics to help educate people, to help them understand how serious this all of these issues, especially a stroke. I can't imagine, you know And I just can't imagine being in that situation. Probably I would be panicking. Oh my God. Sorry, my hand went over the screen. But what are some of the side effects that you've had apart from just your face and then your hands are not movable as they're supposed to?
Well, one thing that I count as a blessing too, my smell has increased. I don't know why, but it has. So
Oh wow.
foods that I used to like smell good, they don't smell good anymore.
Oh my goodness.
So my taste buds is kind of, if I taste it, don't taste good, I won't eat it. So, when I had the stroke back in January, I was 200 pounds
Mm-hmm.
because I was eating everything, and but now I'm like 172 right now. So I lost
Mm-hmm.
30 pounds, and it's because the food, if I smell it, I don't eat it. I won't eat it, and if I taste it, it don't taste good, I won't eat it. So now it's basically, now those are two things that I say is a good thing, but because like I said, it's preventing me now from eating certain foods. And if I smell it, and if it smells bad, just anything like McDonald's, it just smells bad. So I can smell it, like when my wife brings it in the house for the kids, I know she got McDonald's. And it's just like a turn off.
She's still bringing it in the house.
Well, the kids, they kind of
She
like it.
gotta stop. The
Yeah.
wifey, my friend said to stop. Okay.
Well,
Um.
the boys, they like the kids, they
Yeah.
like the McDonald's. I try to tell them not to.
But also, Tony, with that happening to you, stroke does not discriminate.
No.
So I believe that I have an autistic son, right? And before I couldn't get him to eat any sweets. When he went to school, they introduced him to, they're giving them I forgot the word they're giving. They're giving them treats, for being good. And they introduced him to Skittles and Oreos and everything. And it has been a very difficult task for me to remove him from those sweets to eating healthy foods. But my point with this is that if you have recognized what happened to you, it does not discriminate. It doesn't have any age as to where a person is going to have a stroke. I think as parents, we should be example to our children, and know, based on our experiences, try to not prevent but to guide them away from that kind of unhealthy eating. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
We
because you know what happened to you. You wouldn't want that to happen to your children. You want them to live a healthy life. And I had to teach my Noah to eat vegetables. Okay. So now he eats lettuce. Thank God. He eats broccoli. I made him taste a tomato. He doesn't like it. But as I'm changing my lifestyle, I'm incorporating him in it so that he wouldn't have the same health concerns, as preventable as I can do it, so that he wouldn't have the same health concerns that I have. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. I think with our kids, if they eat what we eat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the beginning, even from a baby, so they eat what we eat. So, as
Mm-hmm.
a kid, I grew up on fish and stuff like that. Fish, because my dad fished, and
Mm-hmm.
vegetables. Because moms back then they cook every day. Versus, so for us, it wasn't going to the fast food restaurant, Burger King and McDonald's. It wasn't that. My mom cooked every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we had fast food, it was like almost like a treat. So they eat what we eat, but we have to kind of instill. And we're all creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
We generate those good habits. I mean, the kids will grow up and do the same thing like us, but they got to see us doing it first.
Mm-hmm.
They got to see
True,
us
true, true.
doing it first before they're going to take on that same habit.
Absolutely. One of my guests, Martha, she asked, looking back, can you identify the telltale signs that you missed?
As far as what
The
before
stroke.
the
Yeah.
signs that I missed,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's almost, well, I mean, like hypertension. They say that's a silent killer.
Mm-hmm.
They recognize that as a silent killer. So I mean, there was any. I mean, like I said, it was a normal day, so I didn't know. I didn't have no signs leading up to the stroke. So there wasn't really any signs. The signs I was already living the signs with the high blood pressure and the bad eating habits. So those were the signs right there. I shouldn't have been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
those were the signs. I was living that. My blood pressure was through the roof, and I kind of knew it.
You
But
were not taking any medications?
I was on medication. I wasn't taking it because it wasn't making me feel good.
Oh my goodness. So that's one of the things I had to learn, Tony. Sometimes we in our own way, like it don't make me feel good, I'm not gonna take it. And honestly, I do not want to be on medication.
Nah, you could get
But
off
until I can bring my blood pressure
down. Yeah.
and I can eliminate that cholesterol, I'm gonna slowly wean myself off it. They say if you're gonna have blood pressure meds, you stay on it for life. I don't believe that's true. That's
Right.
my opinion.
No,
I don't believe that's true.
no.
I believe that there are other ways that you can lower your blood pressure and stay lower as long as you eat the right things, and then you develop a healthy habit, healthy
Absolutely.
lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
after my stroke, I was on medication. But right now, I was on three of them. I kind of weaned myself off of two of them because my blood pressure. I check my blood pressure 3 times a day now,
Mm-hmm.
so I know where it's at. So I kind of know where it's at and what I need to take. But I weaned myself off too, and that's from eating the right foods. Exercise
Mm-hmm.
it helps a lot, which we don't know it. Exercise helps a lot. 30 minutes
Yes,
of walking is good. It lower your blood pressure. Just 30 minutes a day, exercise, moving, staying active. That helps the blood pressure a lot. And eating the right foods. And I wanna I wanna share something that I think that's been helping me. And I know you might know about this, but it really has helped. I don't know if you can see this. This black seed oil.
mm-hmm.
Black seed
Yeah.
is amazing.
Okay.
Amazing for high blood pressure. It has over 101 benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Some of everything. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil helps with the heart, the brain. I mean, it's amazing. This is what we need to be putting in our bodies.
Yes.
It's what we,
So how has the stroke affected your daily activities?
oh man. Well, I'm kind of limited to some things because, like right now, even talking, they got something what they call stroke fatigue. Even if you look that up, it's called stroke fatigue. Most stroke victims they suffer that. So anything that's even me talking right now, I get extremely tired. Walking, I get extremely tired. I mean, I kind of force myself when I go to the gym. I do 2 miles. I do 2 miles a day. I force myself to do that, but after that, I am exhausted. So I'm trying to gain my stamina back from that. But
Your stomach.
right, it's affected me because I'm a person that use my hands all my life. I've been in construction and use my hands all my life. So my left hand is kind of handicapped right now. So there's certain things that I'm limited in doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard for me. If I grab something with my left hand and not think about it, I drop it. It'll slip out my hand. So because it's
I
that
understand.
I can't really grip it. So
Wow.
I'm kind of limited in certain things.
Give me a second. Sorry, I had to talk to my son. Okay, so wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So let me see what my viewers are saying. Mel Paul said eating right and exercising takes you a long way. Black seed oil cures everything. And Martha said avocado oil. How about avocado oil?
Oh, and then them good oils. Those are good. What they call good oils.
Yes.
Those are good oils we need in our body. They help the heart and the brain. So that's why I'm doing. That's why I'm on the oils, the black seed oil, because it helps with the cognitive function of the brain and the heart. So it lowers your blood pressure as well. Yeah.
Wow. Tony, I'm so sorry that you went through this. But before I continue with the questions, with our conversation, let me just say Poetry and Perspective with Placide has been brought to you by me and my brand, Rise to Prosperity. And I have my book, which is on cindyplacide.com. If you want to collect, if you want to support me with my book, I have my candle line as well. It's called Cindy Sense, and of course, this show Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I also do a whole list of other things. I do how do you call it? I forgot. I make candles. Let me see if I can get that slide for you guys. Yes, so I make candles. That's my line, Cindy Sense. I make candles. So if you are interested in getting one of my candles, go to riseoprosperity.com, or you can send me a message on WhatsApp 404-604-1781, or visit my store and we are going to help you with my beautifully scented candles. Okay, I'm also on Instagram, Cindy Sense, at Cindy Sense, and also Rise of Prosperity. Okay, so this is my line. Also, guys, if you would, this show, I've been doing it for 3 years now, and you can subscribe to my page, so you could get the first things that are coming out. And if you appreciate what you are watching right now and want more, please give some stars. It will help me help my my page grow, and also my viewership, and allow people to get the algorithm to pick me up, and so that I could do more to bring empowerment, inspiration, and education to the larger public. Okay, so that's with that said. Mel said, Tony, I'm proud of you. Continue taking care of yourself. Yes. It is always a pleasure. It is always a happy occasion when we hear somebody recovers from an illness, no matter how that is. Because we are very resilient people. And all of the things in life, the stress, the mental illness, the the toxins in the air, in our food, the depletion of our nutrients in our food, a lot of this contribute to our deteriorating health. And so we need to do the best that we can to help ourselves live longer lives, if that makes sense. And a lot of us, we need to really take a closer look at our diets, including myself. I'm not excluding myself. I've been working on it, but I'm not excluding myself. So Tony, I want to talk a little more to you, and how has it has been said that our experiences shape and humble us, right? So how has your stroke shaped your perspective on the disease and the attention you give to your health?
Oh, like I said, it's a blessing in disguise because it has taught me now to know how to eat, what to eat, exercise, be more active, um, a stress free lifestyle. Yeah, so it kind of opened my eyes to that because when you have a stroke, you're acceptable to have more.
Mm-hmm.
You have the first one if you don't do the things that if you don't change what you've been doing. So you got.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of really honest, Sandy. I'm kind of scared actually because I don't want to have another one, and then the next one might be the one that's fatal, more fatal.
I
So
understand.
I'm making sure I'm doing the right things right now as far as exercise, things I've never done before. I mean, I used to exercise when I was younger, but I never exercised. I'm doing exercising now 3 days a week. I watch what I eat. I drink. Keep hydrated, and I try to keep my stress down. And I always check my blood pressure.
It is important to check that blood pressure and
Right.
also the pulse,
Right.
because sometimes we check the blood pressure, but sometimes the pulse. I'm not a doctor, but based on what I have learned personally, sometimes our pulse is not corresponding with our blood pressure. So there's something going on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we need to guys, I cannot tell you the amount of Black people are so susceptible to getting strokes at a higher number. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to find that statistics where I was reading. I think I lost it somehow, but we are really susceptible to having strokes. And it is important that we continue educating each other. Right now, Tony, you are on a mission. I see you're on a mission to bring awareness to stroke. And that is very, very commendable. I commend you for that. He really did have a close call, Martha. And I commend you for just being able to talk to us and not being afraid to be vulnerable with us and let us know that this is something that happened to you. Because sometimes, a lot of times, men don't like to speak about what happened to them. They
No.
keep it in the back burner. And I continue to encourage the men to come on the show, because as much as we've been made to believe that men always have to have that strong front, I have boys, and I encourage them to speak to me when having issues. My oldest son is like 28 years old, and I encourage him speak to me about things because we never know. Because we always make them feel okay. You have to have that. You have to be strong, but it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have a level of vulnerability to speak about the things that are affecting men, so that more men will bring to light what is happening to them, and we can empower and motivate somebody, help somebody, through our experiences.
Absolutely. If you listen to the body, your body will talk to you. Just listen.
Yeah.
It'll talk to you, tell you things going on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when we feel some pain, we run to the doctor. So the body will talk to you. You just have to listen to it, and react to it, to respond to whatever's going on with your body. So that's important.
Yeah. Listen, when I am tired and my body is really tired, I don't care what's going on in my world. When my body say you need to lay down, if you don't hear me answer my phone, if you don't see me post anything, if you just know Cindy has tapped out. I don't give my body what it needs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Give me what it needs. I'm about to fall out right now. It's hard enough losing that weight. Oh my God. It's amazing how our bodies are resilient. At the same time, it is so fragile. It's very, very fragile.
And,
So
and we only
Tony,
have one. We only have one body. We got to take care of it.
absolutely.
Until we-
So how did your recovery go compared to the doctor's expectations of, or someone who suffered that type of stroke?
well, I'm currently in rehab right now. I'm in occupational therapy for my left arm. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the recovery is due after rehab. So you don't just go to rehab and do what they tell you and then come home and not do anything. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
you have to continue that. So and everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. So recovery time is different from everyone. So it's a time thing for me right now. So will my arm ever get back 100%? I don't know. But I'm doing the things that I'm trying to strengthen it every day. So I'm doing the things to get it back at 100%. But will it? I have no idea. I have no idea because I have a friend in Florida. He had a stroke at 52. He's 62 now, and he lost
Mm-hmm.
the of his right hand. He's not able to use his right hand still 10 years later.
Wow.
See, so everybody's different. So, but you have to do the things. I call it homework. You have to do the
Yes.
homework after the rehab, and to make the healing process start. And eat the right foods. That's all. You got to be active. You got to stay active.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's important to stay active because we will be surprised what exercise can do. Just moving can do to our body
that's right.
a
That's
lot. And eating the right foods, that's important. 80% of it is our food, and
80%.
then the other 20% is our diet.
That's right.
It's
That's
our exercise.
right.
So Tony, based on your experience, what advice would you give to the viewers about the seriousness of strokes and the importance of recognizing the symptoms and taking quick action?
Well, I think as we age and get older, what I'm saying, as black males and black women as well, then we have to do the things that's necessary for our bodies. We have to listen to our bodies. And I think we have to make sure that we live in a stress-free life. We live in a society where we moving and going and trying to multitask. I think that's the worst thing that a person can do is multitask because you can't finish everything at one time. You
Mm-hmm.
multitask because something's gonna get left out if you're trying to
Yes.
multitask. So we just have to listen to our bodies and react to our bodies, exercise, check our blood pressure, and if we're on the medication, find a way to get off it because the body will heal itself. If we
Yes.
do the right things, it will heal itself. It will take care of
Yes. Absolutely.
it. Right. So
Absolutely.
I think it's important. And just listen to your body. It'll respond to what's going on with the body. But you got to make sure that you're putting the right things inside of the body.
Absolutely. Tony, so that's very timely and timely timely advice. So you become an advocate for stroke survivors. How has your advocacy been received and by the community and other survivors as yourself?
I mean, it's received well because I got it on my social media, Facebook, Instagram. I kind of educate people on the different types of strokes and what to do to how to be proactive as far as our lifestyle and living. So I kind of educate them that way. And I have people to reach back out to me to find out what I'm doing to recover and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
eating. And I've been like you one of three people that have reached out to me about my condition and wanted me to come on and give some insight on what the stroke has done with my life and how it's affected my life and what am I doing. So I think it's a powerful platform that you have, and I think it's something that me being a stroke advocate, because I can relate to somebody who has had a stroke versus somebody who hasn't. I mean, because it's some mental things that's going on even right now that we have to deal with because
Yes.
the brain is trying to connect the dots back 24/7 because it's like a shock wave. So even in my downtime, my brain is constantly trying to figure out what's going on because you got to understand I'm trying to unravel what happened. My brain is trying to unravel what has happened to the body. So from a cognitive sense, it's kind of tough because I'm trying to put things back together. So I can kind of relate to somebody who has had a stroke versus somebody who hasn't. So support is another thing. You have to have a strong support system if it's a wife or a significant other after you suffer the stroke. And I'm not, this is something I don't want anyone else to experience. So me being somebody that has stepped into place and has had a stroke to tell people what to do to prevent from having a stroke, because like you read, 80% of strokes are preventable. So
Yes.
now that we know that now, so now we know what we have to do because it can be prevented. But if we don't prevent it, then we're acceptable to have a stroke at any given time, at any given age. And the older we get, because we got to understand as we age, the brain suffers some things too that's going on. Dementia. We go through, most older people. My dad suffered from dementia because his brain is getting older. But there's things to prevent that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Things to prevent that. So I'm glad you have this platform that you invited me on. I'm glad people, if they want to reach out to me, they can reach out to me on Facebook. If they want to know what I've been taking, if they want to know what I've been taking to kind of get myself back together, my website is right there, the no stroke zone.com. They could go on there. They could definitely get the black seed oil on there because I think that's beneficial. I think every household needs that black seed oil. If they don't have anything else, that black seed oil is amazing.
Wow. That is beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on here with Poetry and Perspective with Placid. I do have to ask you though, since you are on a mission, I see, to further awareness of stroke. What is your next step? What are some of the plans you have to continue educating the public about strokes?
Well, they have I've been invited at Emory Hospital downtown Atlanta. They have what they call a round table.
Mm-hmm.
It's for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I've been invited to be a guest speaker at their round table where I kind of educate people what I've gone through and to hear what other people are going through mentally. It's
Mm-hmm.
called mental. It's for mental behavior because that's another thing. Mental awareness is really big in the United States as well. So a lot of people suffer from some serious mental issues. So that's my next project. I'll be sitting in at the round table at Emory Hospital, sharing my story and what I'm doing as far as the recovery and how I'm keeping myself sane in this crazy world that we live in.
Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, Tony, it was a pleasure to have you here. We ran out of time, but it was such a pleasure. You give such amazing information to the viewers, and I'm sure the viewers are thankful that you took the time out to just advocate for strokes because there's so many people that have experienced stroke. It could be somebody you know next. You understand? So try to take this information to heart and do your research. And we encourage people to change your eating habits, change your lifestyle, because, like he said, strokes are 80% preventable. The study said it's 80% preventable, and if we can help one person turn that around and not be a statistic, then we have done a good feed today. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being on Poetry and Perspective with Placide. Remember my slogan, there are no tap outs. Let your voice be heard. And if you know anyone who wants to be part of this show, guys, you need to have them contact me. Don't forget to give me, share my lives and give me stars, okay? Because I would love some stars. I won't shine so bright, okay? So, get some stuff going, because guys, listen, I need to continue this work that I'm doing. This has been my purpose, to help others in the best way that I can. So if you like to, my show is going to be aired on my YouTube channel as well. I need to promote that a little bit more. And for my merchandise and my candles, guys, the information is on the screen. There are no tap outs. Let your voice be heard. And don't ever, ever allow failure to be your finality. Live your best life possible. Like Tony said, we have one body. Take care of that one body that you have. Because tomorrow, in this life, in this system, is not promised. So we got to take care of ourselves and live the best life we can. I love you all, my resilient risers. Please share my lives, and I will talk to you all soon. Tony, you have a good night, and we're
Thank
gonna be talking some more after the live. So please stay
Absolutely.
stay on after the live ends. So resilient risers, have an amazing night, and listen, tomorrow night we have an open show for our poets, writers, entrepreneurs, anybody who wants to get on to just say a piece, sing a song, say a poetry, read a part about your book, anything. I would like you guys to come on the show tomorrow night to share your work. Okay? Just share. I will send the link to you and just share. And then please, 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 grapeseed oil works wonders. Okay? Have a good night, resilient risers. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Okay? Good night.